In your work as an analyst, remember we have to stick with the foundations first. So the moment that you start to analyze different aspects of a person's life relative to relationships, to cycles, you really need to have a solid grounding or a foundation in the person's truth principle, their individual nature of knowing what they are here for, what they came here for. Because no longer is this life about creating dependencies. In truth, now, here, one must come to an awareness of one's own sovereign nature in order to have strong boundaries. Okay? Boundaries, a theme for the new era, the new age. And so if we can help that client align to their form principle, the predominance of the energetics of what they came here for, they are more likely to be able to say no to those things that just aren't so, as in not inherent to their individual truth. So starting with the structure is one of the things that I wanted to remind you of in order that you remember how this works. Always do a really solid foundation for your clients or for yourself before you try to go into any of this extraneous stuff. Because I'll tell you, one of the most interesting things, particularly to those of us who are human design is like a candy store, projectors wanting to know the others, anybody wanting to know what's going on, whatever it is, if you don't remember the foundational core of you, it's mind candy. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of the foundational core, and it will help us link to the planetary life aspects as far as the relational dynamics, because correctness, according to Ra, begins to align the being to the potential of its purpose. And in being aligned to the potential of your purpose, you have to see that it is aligning to your purpose, not mine, not somebody else's. In fact, not a purpose that you can actually share with anyone. It's yours. It's absolutely unique. And only when you get to a point where you operate correctly, only then can you truly be the only authority, not just simply your authority, but the only authority. It is your truth. And any decision that is made is correct. And the passenger, when the passenger is liberated from that, when there is true authority in the life, then the passenger can begin to see and really see beyond this shell. Stick your head through the sky and really see. You can only do this alone. So it is your path, your process, your structure. So to follow the structure, before we go into the orientation of attempting to bring in planetary life aspects, which happen to be also people too, we have to go back to the surface view. What makes this type unique, this strategy unique, this authority unique, and this chart unique? Each of these views help in their support and clarification of the specificity of the nature of being. Remember, just like everyone else, you are unique. The type, strategy, and authority is not a generalization when you get to this level of the knowledge, as in being able to articulate to somebody the difference between transit coming in with what, let's say it's another authority channel that is emotional, which is not normally their emotionality or their authority principle. Then you have to be able to differentiate between what is theirs and what is not theirs. And that's the thing that's going to help you do really good work as a cycles analyst. So again, channel definition. Do recall that you have very specific descriptions, not just the general, but very specific descriptions of red versus black, of what planets, what lines, because we are all, each of us individually, a specificity. When it comes to the strategy, that person, this is a emotional energy projector, mental, classic, very different things. So what is specific to this being, because it's a basic split and a wide split? How does that change the strategic nature of this person being able to trust their own authority process? What elements will work with or against the strategy? Do recall the design dilemmas. design dilemmas when it comes to helping that person light up with awareness or recognition or response or whatever the case may be to their authority principle. And the inner authority or the personal authority, if there is no inner authority, as in with reflectors or mental projectors. What makes this person's authoritative process unique? It's the channels, it's their inner authority. But what creates the channels, the specificity of the operation of the authority, comes from the planetary activations. That's the name of the game that we're going to be playing with today, the planetary activations. So overall chart dynamics, what makes this being unique, like this wide split, like any incarnation cross gates hanging as dormant potentials waiting to get lit up by life and by others to broadcast their nature of being. Okay, so when you're looking at activations, sometimes it's fun to put the planets on there because that planet is going to be in a specific gate line at either end of the birth time, either mental, conscious personality constructs, psychological, or body, which is the life process. This is bringing the potential energy of a person or awareness or differentiation, whatever you want to call it. So when you look at these activations, they are standing for certain principles, certain lessons, certain learnings in the life. And each one of them has a very different flavor or creative expression, especially in context with an other within the channel. And that right there gets so aware of what your client is here to be, or you, if you're doing this for yourself, doing this work for yourself. So when it comes to the nature of being able to source into the definition that is true, because again, slang human design, we'll call it. Oftentimes we might say, and everybody does this, oh, you have definition through the transit, you have definition through the relationship. Actually, definition happens to be the natal imprinting. That's it. Okay. The channel with both gates activated, this center connected through the defined channel brings the only life force purpose fulfillment as far as the differentiating factors that are created by the planetary activations. Look, Jupiter and nodes. The moment that you see this light up, as far as nodes conjunct a planet, now you have something very specific that is orienting you either to past or to future. So when you are now adding on another layering of a cycle, you are going to have your work cut out for you, particularly when it's personal. Why? Let's say a transit that we were looking at brought in a whole slew of other planets. How do we untangle this kerfuffle, as in analyze what's happening? It's going to be very, very specific words that you're going to use that I'm going to introduce you to today. And you're going to have to practice and play and repeat it over and over and over again in order to land this in or to sink this into your awareness. Because the energy that is fixed, consistent, reliable, trustworthy for decision-making is not static over the developmental process of growing through or maturing through the decades of one's life experience. Example, Saturn, Uranus, Chiron. They are movements towards purpose, as we have discussed. Okay, so in the day-to-day mundane reality, as well as the solar principle, the yearly annual cycle, now we have all these different things coming in, layering on top, and it's changing your experience of yourself. Now we say daily, the daily transits, and some of these planets, they drag on and on and on. Sorry for being silly, but this is my experience. As in, the planet that is there, gotta show you something. Good golly, Miss Molly, my friends. Nothing like personal experience to get your teacher all hopped up on, you guys, this is amazing. I'm learning stuff. Okay, so let's look at LaVeena's chart. There we are. We're going to create a chart of right now, just now. And we know that planets who are long in the tooth, as in they move quite slow, as in they are big, don't you know? They take some time. Okay, look what's happening with Jupiter. We have a detriment. The drive for leadership that may not yet have earned the right. That's where Jupiter is. Gate 45, line 5, leadership. All fifth lines, leadership. They resonate on that principle. In detriment, drive to lead, no right to. But look, LaVeena getting affected by every 12 years. There's the 21-3, powerlessness. Lack of will for the material path in order to protect the ego. What to do? It is what it is. Now you lock this particular experience into a transit that is long, as in your 30s, 40s, 50s. Then you have this layering in of the influential developmental process of how this being is learning about life during that organic time of their process. Say it again. In your 30s, you lock in some of these transits, or 40s or 50s, as in the element of the life process, the life transit gets locked in. Now you have something that is moving you towards purpose, that is helping you learn and develop and grow in order to fulfill your life process. Okay? It's just the nature of the show. As in, this is the crystallization of the mental or form principle as far as how this being is here to be who they really came here to be, or what they really are, or the true self, the authentic self, the enlightened selfishness that is the awareness of what this being came here to be. And so, when we see these natures within the construct or the structures, you can see clearly that Venus comes in and there's no kind of detriment to my own natal Venus. Thank heavens, because the way that the experience of this mind's not self-process is, please, Jupiter, move. I need to take care of my family. I don't want to withdraw from the material plane. Please move. And then it's not moving. Well, quite slowly, actually, according to our little finite minds and experiences of the now times, it is quite challenging. So the reason I'm doing my little song and dance is to hopefully inspire you to see. That's all this is. Inspire you to see. Like, look and see truly. The definition, how it's configured, gives the additional indication for how energy will interact with the world. Definition, two-way street. Activation in an undefined center, still part of this person's natal being, but in relational context to life. Okay, the teachers inside of these places and spaces, how the energy is put together is going to show us fundamentally how that energy is going to react to the world, and the layering over of conditioning. So now you know conditioning can happen in the openness, but we can also have its effect within channels as well. And how do we analyze that? You are going to have a concretized set of formulae, structures, word formula phrases that you can use in order to describe these planetary themes. Now, to review, each of the planets, these movements of energy, impetus for potential awareness, or drive, or pressure, or stress, or will, or identity, the notification of one's energy principle being activated can feel quite jarring if one is not correct. As in, not capable of handling the reality of the exoteric, the outside world, and the esoteric, the inner truth of one's individual nature, can sometimes be dormant, we'll say. As in, you're not able to go inside to your own personal authoritative process. And even if you don't have an inner authority, you all have your own personal authoritative process. The sun, our radiance of life force awareness, the heavenly aspect of being, as in the form principle on the body side or the mind side, concretizing the awareness of one's life's work, purpose, fulfillment. Rounded into the earth, which is the worldly balancing aspect, the earthly form principle, the yin. So the yang being the sun, the yin being the earth. What is grounded into this form principle of the nature of you fulfilling your life's work. Moon being a motivational pulling aspect or pushing aspect. Mentally, it is a mental focus. Unconsciously, it can feel like a driving force that pushes or pulls at you. Think like lunar tides, pulling or pushing. North node is going to be the environmental, as far as it's a developmental future aspect after the age of 38 to 44. South node, the environmental or past aspect, as in the developed or even overdeveloped process that you came into, incarnated with in this life process into this being, body, form, principle, experiment of consciousness and form. Those processes take time. There is a similar thing happening with the cycles, depending on what cycle we're orienting you to, okay? We are going to definitely help you orient to the way in which a yearly cycle versus 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond open up the awareness principle of the path that you're walking, the road that you're traveling, the way that you're seeing, and think of them like cutouts. Think of them like chapters in a book or a movie. You know how you got your chapters or your, let's use TV when it comes to seasons, okay? Seasons in the life. We have these longer life seasons. And within that season, we have these little tiny, what do they call it? Help me out here, guys. I'm lost with that word. You know, the little, they're not sessions. That's where my mind is going. For me, it's sessions. I have my little sessions. Chapters, that's a book. But in the movie, in the TV show, you know, those pieces. Think of the yearly, so the annual cycle. Episodes. Thank you, Alex. Episodes. Annually, it's an episode. I'm having a fit. I'm having an episode. Okay, good one. I really like that because the episode, yeah, like a seizure. I'm having an episode. I'm having an experience that isn't necessarily moving me towards purpose. Oops. Oh, well, what to do? It's part of the movie. So when you're linking this being, their beingness, to their seeing correctly, along with this additional episode that they're layering on top, either for the yearly, which is a distraction point, or for the larger life cycles, which is movement towards purpose. You're helping to orient them to the path in which they walk as they see along the road that they are traveling, and not get distracted by the illusion, delusion, or false narrative of the day, not being conditioned to try to see in the same way. Okay, Mercury, communication, conscious thinking and expressing, or voice on the body side. You could call it a perspective, as in it is a mental framing on the conscious personality, whereas the body, which is the life, it's the voice principle, the voice that is expressing. It's part of the energetic opening of expression and movement, communication. Now, Venus, yeah, movement is communication, isn't it? Venus values mores or morals, this aspect of love and beauty. On the body side, it's the complexion, the things that makes our complexion glow, or rosy cheeks just so. On the mind side, it is the mental capability of finding one's morality, okay? Your mores, your moralistic, maybe it's a value judgment as far as what you value, what you find beautiful, what you find you are internally appreciative of, okay? Mars, this immaturity or maturing energy dynamic. On the mind side, it's the thing that breaks you free from the humdrum mundane reality, as in it's a developmental aspect that allows you to have a personal, powerful, transformational effect. Mars. Don't leave that one behind. He is solid. He'll do you a solid if you align. Now, on the body side, this is the temperature, the body's principle of heat, which creates mutation. Mutation requires heat, okay? Jupiter, great, by Jove, by jolly, by golly, Miss Molly. We have this personal law or correct aspect of personal developmental principle. As in, Jupiter gives you the great good fortune and good luck when you obey your own law, rule. Remember, rule. On the body side, it is the aura, the energetic expansion and contraction of the aura, because the auras breathe. Did you know your aura breathes? Just walk into an elevator and you can feel, ooh, no, maybe not. I can't wait to get out of this elevator. Or maybe you're just like, it's all fine. It's all dandy. Ooh, people. I like that. Depends on your design. Okay. Your own concretization of your law or rule, your personal obeyances, protects you. It's a protective element of your personal development. Saturn, the judge, brings a consequential, consequential aspect of your personal development. Now, I'm reviewing this because you are going to see the linkages that we use in transits. It's going to rhyme. They're going to be similar and somewhat same, with a slight twist, a difference in the language that you could use if it's correct for you to use, okay? So get the body graph of that being first, and then you can use different layering principles so that there's no confusion between the illusion or delusion of out there being something that you must compare to or must measure against or whatever. Because again, transits are not you. They are learning opportunities, and concretizing into the nature of being you, aligning to what's true through your strategy, honoring yourself as your authority, gives you strength. It gives you discipline. Hi, Saturn, the judge, this consequential aspect, the personal signpost of whether or not one is aligned. Why? Because Saturn is a harsh taskmaster when one is not operating in alignment. It brings pain. It brings discipline. It brings constriction, restriction, constraint. It brings calcification, aging, the bones. Okay. So on the body side, this is the ability to exhale. So if one is holding one's breath, think Saturn on the body side. If one is mentally pressured, stressed, angsty, uncomfortable, this is the thou shalt not pass, like that kind of like, don't go further and no beyond, because Saturn is disciplining you to stay on the straight and narrow path, the track of either your life, or if it's your Saturnian cycle, let's call away all of the dead myths, all of the things that do not serve. Let's let go of the old toys, the old things that no longer belong, because now it's time to grow up in your Saturnian cycle. And Saturn brings us this evolutionary principle of judgmentation, as in to judge, as in to work, as in to bring forth the nature of one's reincarnative principle of work. Okay, discipline. It brings correct restriction. Now, Uranus, unusual, wacky, weird, chaotic aspect that's stirring up. You can hear the muse of LaVeena currently. Thank you, Uranus, currently. Okay, 8, line 3. Wacky, weird. Oh, well, what to do? On the conscious side, it can bring a mental sidetracking. On the unconscious side, it brings unusual movement. Okay, so this is what Uranus is doing. Innovative, creative, wacky, weird, sudden shifts, sudden leaps of evolution. And then we look to the nature of Neptune. Watery, mysterious, elusive, behind a veil. Yeah, my mind is saying false evidence appearing real again. The nature of being, that one is kind of hidden, as in the element of one's nature of awareness is so turned off here relative to your own organic principle, Neptune. Illusion, art, spirituality, hidden behind a veil. Now, out in the world, new things coming in, what is this hiddenness going to erode or going to reveal? We'll see in your specificity. Last but not least, we have Pluto. Now, these are lifelong transformative effects here. The Pluto, inner truth or its subconscious aspect, your psychological makeup on the personality side, your truth process, which takes a lifetime, lifelong learning, a lifetime to explore the nature of the depth of the truth of your Plutos. And on the body side, this is the inhalation of life, the life process, the life principle, inhaling the richness and the depth of life. Death is life, as in there has to be death in order for life to have meaning and ending, in order for new beginnings to happen.